Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, a fantasy film from 1971. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream on Netflix or to rent on all the major streaming services. So go check it out because this is Screen Riot.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. As Kyle said at the beginning, we're taking a look at Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971. It's rated G. Has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it was directed by a man named Mel Stewart. So, Kyle, since this was your fantasy film pick for this season, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is all about?
Well, to sum it all up, we basically follow a boy named Charlie that has a fascination about a mysterious Wonka chocolate factory in his town. That we then find out that Wonka starts a contest and makes the world go mad. And then he dishes out 5 golden tickets for people to find. Those tickets allow them to go into the factory and experience all of Wonka's secrets and inventions. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so...
And one disappears every hour now.
So I'll just go ahead and kick this off. So the film opens up with, a bunch of sugar high kids running to the candy store. And we see probably the worst business model I've ever seen, where this guy just throws out all candy for free to all these kids and then just sings to them.
Well, no, I mean, you don't see Charlie in there. Charlie's actually looking into the window like, oh, I wish I was a rich kid and can just go behind the counter and eat whatever I want.
Yeah, but you don't see any of these kids pay for any of this.
And well, I assume that it's like, yeah, just put it on my parents' tab. They'll pay for it.
In fact, the only person you see the Candyman charge is Charlie later.
Yeah. Money, please.
I think it goes to it shows to that Charlie is not from a family of means. You automatically know that. Like he's not in there getting the free candy with all the other with the rich kids. He's on his way to work.
Yeah.
And he sees a ruckus going on in the candy shop.
He has such a good boss too.
Oh, his boss is awesome.
He's like, "Oh, Charlie, you're late. Here's the paper. Have a good day." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What a great boss."
Was he German?
I don't know.
Was he a German? I don't remember if he was a German paper guy or not. Kyle, you're German.
Well, it's the reason why I'm saying that. No, the reason why I'm saying
papers.
No, the reason why I'm saying that is because this movie does like that's probably the one thing that I don't like about this movie is. Everybody is either British, American, or, something else. Hardly anybody's German in this movie, but it's filmed in Germany, in Munich.
Yeah. I mean, Augustus Gloop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's one.
Yeah, well, and what Mel Stewart did that on purpose because he wanted the town to not be a recognizable place. That's why he didn't film it in the United States. He didn't want to do it in New York or Chicago or something. Yeah, it's like, okay, it could be it's anywheresville, this country.
But obviously not in the U.S.
It's obviously not in the U.S. Exactly.
We do not have towns like that here.
Yeah, which is I like that choice because it makes it kind of timeless because it's especially all the architecture because like you said, it's filmed in Munich, Germany. It has very Germanic architecture stuff, but a lot of the actors are British. And you don't see very many like vehicles or anything either. I noticed on this watch through. That would really date the movie as well. So I think that's all probably a conscious decision that they did to make it like a timeless movie.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
I'm trying to think. Weren't there cars with oh gosh.
There's cars during his mom's song.
Okay.
When he's walking, because it's just a montage of him walking home. There's cars there, and of course there's cars during
at the dealership.
Violet's Violet's interview. There's cars there.
Violet,
but there's not. But there's not. It's not like they don't you see the hoods and the windshields. You don't see like the front ends and the rear ends and stuff like that. You go, oh, that's a 69 or that's a 70, whatever.
Yeah, Mr.
Gotcha.
Beauregard.
Yeah,
I knew one of the parents owned a dealership. I just couldn't remember which one it was.
Sam B. It's a guarantee.
Yep. Sam B is guaranteed. Here's my card. If you ever want a card.
Jesus,
I love that
Lord.
guy. I love how he just took the card and he was just like, oh, okay, thank you. Anyway, moving on.
I haven't
talking
left this
about
factory in 15 years, man.
I know. It's like, I don't need a car, sir.
Talking about the town, and the creation of the fishbowl, or as you guys were talking about, I think it also kind of lends to a fantasy to be able to do that. Because, like you said, I mean, this town could be anywhere at any point in time, and it could also apparently have like little orange men in it. I mean, like that's totally normal. Like, don't question that. Just go with it. Even though it's obvious that Willy Wonka is enslaving a race of little people that he's painted orange. Let's just ignore all of that. Let's just continue on.
No.
Yeah, it's
Eddie,
Anywheresville, USA.
he saved them from being
that's what it
eaten
is.
by
From the
creatures
Snozwranglers.
on their
Wranglers and Wang
Yeah.
Gobblers and Ding Dongs.
Who tells us that story, by the way?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Willy Wonka. Yeah.
Willy Wonka is the one who tells us it. Yeah. He can make up anything. Yeah, like if we didn't hear it from one Oompa
It's like,
Loompa,
oh, and by the
there's-
way, don't talk to any of the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
They will tell you
Bitch
weird
wanted to-
things.
You want to get killed? Open your mouth. Sing songs. Okay, sir.
Oompa.
Oompa.
Well, doesn't he say that he doesn't pay them in money? He pays them in cocoa beans.
Yes.
Is
It's
that
even
what he
more
said?
weird?
Did he say that?
I think that's a line from the movie. Yeah.
Oh man,
Huh.
I don't remember that, but that's
It's definitely in
Pretty
the
remarkable.
new one with Johnny
Oh,
Depp.
am I getting it
definitely
mixed
said
with
that,
the
but-
movie?
yeah. Don't get
Yeah, I don't think it was in this
Hmm.
one.
Well, see, I don't remember. I've only watched the new one once. Hated it, and
Yeah,
I
it was
only
awful.
remember little bits and pieces, and I sometimes get that mixed up, like little lines like that. So
How?
if that was from the new one,
Yeah, I think it was from the new one. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a pretty bad
these guys.
pay.
Well, no, that's the thing. I think in the new one, they were trying to get away from the idea that Wonka was obviously enslaving a race of
Oh.
people and was paying them with cocoa beans, because otherwise, what are these guys living off of? Like, what do they, how do they live? How do they buy Christmas gifts? How do they? I mean, whatever. Like,
They don't have
whatever
Christmas in
Oompa
Oompa
Loompas
Loompa
do,
Land.
whatever Oompa Loompas do, how are they doing it? No one knows. It's just we saved him from some made up
Nobody
place.
knows.
Meanwhile, they're painting each other every morning. This sucks. I know, John. Shut up. Just paint me orange before he comes back with the hose.
So we got to go from one bad aspect to another. The Grandpa Joe, right? Is that his name, Grandpa Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, budget.
oh,
So-
you mean
Bad
the actual
influence?
villain of the movie? Yeah.
Yeah. So bedridden for 20 years, and then
Mhm.
finally gets up and dances a jig,
Insurance fraud.
right?
Straight up
time.
insurance fraud.
So here's the thing. If it was insurance fraud, though, you'd think the family would be a little bit better off. It looks more like Grandpa Joe just didn't want to do a damn thing and instead went, hey, daughter of mine, you can take care of me.
Well, the
That
other
seems to
three,
be more what took
the
place.
other three look old and decrepit. They actually
Yeah.
fit the part, but Grandpa Joe, he's just like, well, I ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
what-
He-
how did he
he
get?
could have
the
been helping.
tobacco? How-
He
yeah,
could
he's
have been
supposed to get
helping
the-
this whole time.
It's like, how did he get the chocolate bar? It's like, when does she have time? She's working and taking care of them.
She's working 3 damn jobs. She's working 3 jobs, and Grandpa Joe's in there. Every time that she leaves out of the house, he stands up and stretches and is like, "Oh man!"
Turns around to the
That's
other
not
three
good.
and says, "Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up! Don't say a word."
Yeah, he's feeding them bleach and stuff.
Oh
borrowing
my
a book
God.
borrowing a page out of Willy Wonka's book.
What a terrible spin.
I mean, what? It's not even a spin. Otherwise, there's almost. I mean, don't get me wrong. The movie's great,
Yeah.
but if you start to think about it, Joe's
Oh, yeah.
kind of a dick. Like,
Yeah.
like it's kind of a dick move.
Well, yeah, and then like in the fizzy lifty drink thing, he's the devil on Charlie's shoulder that makes him like he doesn't want to do it, but he's like, "Go, yeah, you can
Yeah.
do it. Go drink the thing, kid."
It's like nobody's
fact-
watching. Let's take a drink.
Yeah.
Let's take a drink, Charlie. Nobody's watching. Yeah. A small one won't hurt us. Whoops.
The fact that Charlie almost misses out on millions because Grandpa Joe gets him to drink fizzy lifting drink
Lifting
is
drinks,
just
yeah.
it's just criminal. You know what I mean? Like the fact that happens.
Oh,
So
man.
I don't know. Yeah.
You know,
so obviously Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, R.I.P. that dude knows how to freaking act. No, seriously, like when he died, like I actually did cry. Like that was
he was an amazing actor.
One of the songs that I played was Pure Imagination, sang by him, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm balling, because I mean he was also in Blazing Saddles, which is one of my favorite movies of all times. But his acting in this is just phenomenal.
Well, I mean, if you look at his work, he could sing, he could dance, he could do comedy, he could do drama, he could do physical comedy, he could be a character actor, he could do anything under the sun that an actor, that a performer needed to do. And on top of that, he could not only could he do all of that, but he could do them in rapid succession. So you could be laughing hysterically 1 minute, and then half a second later you're crying.
Sure.
And there's not many actors out there that can do that, especially nowadays.
No, and dude, he can wear a top hat.
He can definitely sport a top hat.
That's pretty awesome. And he can do front flips or somersaults. It's amazing. He can do it all.
And the somersault was his idea.
Yes, I did hear about that.
He refused to do the movie without being able to do the somersault,
which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. Now, the color in this film is amazing, especially when we get into the factory. Like,
it's very vibrant.
Outside of the factory, it's just kind of like this ho hum. Everything's dull. Everything's like either red or white, or like
Munich, Germany.
Like that. Yeah,
very Munich,
Germany. But once you get
a little bit Munich-y.
These people have no color.
It's very mute. But once you get into the factory, everything it starts a little weird, like very contemporary, and like buildings like with hallways and doors and stuff. But then once you open the door to the whatever that room is with the fountain or the waterfall, the chocolate waterfall, and the river and everything, it blew my mind the first time I saw this. Like that was like a childhood dream of entering a room like that and have almost everything edible.
Well, it had the same feeling of during Wizard of Oz, when it's black and white up until she gets to Oz, and it's darn near that same jarring feeling.
Yeah, it's like they crank the saturation a lot too.
It's the through the looking glass effect. You know what I mean? Like you start out and the world kind of sucks and it's grayish, et cetera, and then you go into Willy Wonka's world and it's, like you said, super saturated. The contrast is up, et cetera, and you get a feeling of like, oh shit, we're actually in a totally different world, not just inside the factory.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's a simple effect, but it's very effective. And like John just said, Wizard of Oz, I mean, shit, they made a whole movie basically based on that. That notion of just going into color was a whole new world, so to speak. So,
and that was the first time the actors saw that room as well. That was
wow. Oh, really?
They were specifically kept out of that studio until they shot the reveal to them. So I guess their reactions are genuine. I guess
they did a lot of that in this film. They not only that, but they didn't. The kids didn't know that Willy Wonka was going to do the front flip.
Oh, right.
Like at one point, I think the chick that played Veruca was worried that, oh gosh, he hurt himself, so we're not going to be able to film for a couple of weeks. So there was that, and then the Oompa Loompa.
Is it raining? Is it pouring? That part.
We'll get to that part. Yeah, that's a great part.
The Oompa Loompa that's driving the
boat.
That's piloting the boat. The boat was on a track, but they didn't tell that Oompa Loompa that he wasn't driving the boat.
That seems a little off to me.
Well, they didn't want him
to. A little far fetched.
They didn't want him to. They didn't want him to overcompensate. Like, oh, I'm really driving this boat. But like,
right.
Just drive the boat, man.
You don't want to just do this all the time. Like you're going straight.
Like what was it in Jungle Cruise? In Jungle Cruise on at Walt Disney World,
they spin the crap out of that wheel. I'm turning left.
That's the thing.
So the tunnel scene scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Oh, me too.
I couldn't watch it. It was like the end of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Like I couldn't watch it. Like when his eyes turned green and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What does he say again in the tunnel? I know it's like, is it raining? Is it pouring? Is a hurricane blowing or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
about
I'm not-
we-
I don't know the
I can
whole
do
line.
the whole thing for you.
God, that's what I'm asking for, John. I'm asking for the whole thing. Let's hear it. Come
Oh
on.
gosh.
Come on.
There's no earthly
Wait for
way
me.
of knowing which
Mhm.
direction they are going. There's no knowing where they're rowing or which way the river's flowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a blowing?
Okay.
Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. Are the fires of hell a glowing? Is the grizzly reaper mowing? Yes! The danger must be growing because the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any sign that they are slowing.
Perfect. Perfect. And not a sign that he was from New York. Good job,
boat
John.
immediately. Okay, we're here.
You know,
Right, sir, stop the boat.
so since we're talking about the boat thing, one thing that I noticed on this watch around. So this is right after Augustus Gloop falls into the nasty ass chocolate river.
The
And
watershed's polluted, Wonka.
and he gets sucked in the tube. When they bring the boat in and everybody gets in, there's not an empty seat. There's no two
Oh.
empty seats in the boat.
It was all part of the plan.
And later in the Wonka mobile thing with the foam junk, this
Didn't
is
have
after it didn't have
multiple rows
of empty
Oh,
seats. and
that's
stuff.
true. Yeah.
So we're gonna go back to our idea that Willy Wonka's a serial killer,
Could be.
and he planned all this out.
Yes, it could very well be. I mean, who puts? Obviously, he definitely probably wanted Charlie to be the owner of the factory once he died, because why else would he put the golden ticket in the chocolate shop that Charlie always frequents?
Well,
Yeah.
in the original draft of the script, they actually had Willy Wonka strategically placing the tickets where
Mhm.
he wanted the kid to basically he was picking the kid.
Yes.
He's like, okay, it's going to be this kid, and that's how Slugworth, Mr. Wilkinson, who plays
Yeah.
playing Slugworth, just happens to be in every location
Mhm.
that the tickets found.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut
Which-
that out.
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see Slugworth still around, like instantly around everybody when they find the ticket.
Yeah.
Well, another
Well,
thing
and
too
then-
is like, you might have, it might take some time for the press to actually get there to actually do this main huge
Right.
event for the press and everything. So he probably, I mean, just like anything, it's just like the magic of editing.
No, Wonka's
They
a
just
genius.
cut.
But there's also this would not lack of a better term, a rumor that the chocolate shop owner,
Mhm.
the candy shop owner,
Yeah.
knew that he had the golden ticket that in that particular bar, and he was giving it to Charlie because of the look that he gives Charlie after he hands it to him. He like gives him gives him a little like I'm satisfied. That kind of thing.
I gave it to the right kid.
That's right. I picked the good one.
I think I'll buy just one more. For my Grandpa Joe.
Sure. Why not try a regular Wonka bar this time?
Fine.
If you think about the fact that he pushed him to buy that type of bar, because I mean he made some options, but he kind of alluded to like, well, for that amount of money though, really you can't go wrong with just this big ass chocolate bar right here.
Right.
Like, he doesn't say that 100%, but close enough. I don't know. Do you remember? I was just going to bring up, by the way. Do you guys remember when we reviewed Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
long time ago.
and the fan theory that Snowpiercer was the sequel to this movie.
Oh, that's
And
right.
Really, the whole
Yeah.
time I'm watching, I'm like, shit, this fits way too well. Like
Yeah,
it just
it really
these two
does.
movies go together way too well.
Which we
It's
didn't.
really crazy to me.
It wasn't for this show. It was a different show we were
It
doing.
was a
at the
different
time.
show. Yeah, we had just talked about Snowpiercer.
Oh shit, you
Yeah.
did, wasn't it?
I think it's one of
Oh,
the
I was
unreleased
confused.
episodes, actually.
Yeah, we might have to figure out a way to release that, maybe.
just
add
that
a
just that
beginning and
little
an
clip,
ending.
maybe.
Yeah, at least for the Patreons.
Yeah,
Why
that'd be
not?
kind of cool.
Well, if you haven't gotten a chance, by the way, watch Snowpiercer. It's a sequel to this damn movie, and it really does fit pretty well.
Charlie's a train conductor. Yeah.
Basically.
So
Essentially.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I watched it a ton when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I enjoyed this watch as an adult. I laughed more than I thought I was going to, or what I remember. It's got a lot of British humor in it, like the school teacher.
I've just decided to switch our Friday schedule to Monday, which means that the test we take each Friday on what we learned during the week will now take place on Monday before we've learned it. But since the day is Tuesday, it doesn't matter in the slightest. Pencils ready.
I also like that he can't do math.
Oh,
yeah. I can't do just 2.
I just can't do 2. Let's just imagine 200. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
that's good.
Bold numbers here.
That's the worst British teacher in all of Munich, Germany.
Yeah, right.
Charlie Bucket, how many did you open?
2.
That's easy. 200 is twice 100.
Not 200. Just 2.
2? What do you mean you only opened 2?
I don't care very much for chocolate.
Well, I can't figure out just 2, so let's pretend you opened 200. Now, if you open 200...
One thing that
So weird.
I mean, now, in full disclosure, I watch this movie several times a year. Not actually sit down, hey, I'm going to watch Willy Wonka, but if it's on, we turn it on as a family and just it's in the background kind of thing. So, I mean, I end up watching it several times a year. Something I've noticed about the kids, at some point we see all of the 7 deadly sins
Yes.
Oh, really?
in there. Yeah, you have
Greed.
gluttony, greed, envy, wrath, sloth, pride, even lust for power and money is in there. So it's kind of it makes the movie even more powerful when you realize that it's like, oh, okay, it's not just about this kid. It's like, oh crap, yeah, Charlie's a pretty damn good kid. He's not doing any of this stuff unless he's prodded by Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, maybe he's the.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if Charlie's few indiscretions. I'm wondering if they fall into the 7 deadly sins. I don't think he really has any. I don't think he does, right?
No, I don't.
I mean,
think so.
well, hold on, stealing. Is that a 7 deadly sin one? I don't even know.
No.
No, I mean, he might
wouldn't
have
be considered lust.
It could be
Like lust for somebody else's stuff.
Would that be
larceny?
envy?
Yeah, that would be kind of.
There you go, envy. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, so maybe that one little slip kind of shows like envy a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's not enough to obviously to damn him, and he still ends up a baller at the end.
Well, I mean,
so that's
nobody's
good.
perfect, and he ends up redeeming whatever flaws he had in the movie by giving back the gobstopper.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, because that, I mean, he said, he's like, don't show this to anyone else or whatever, and so, like, honestly, the only way to do that is to give it back before you leave. Because I mean, that was the whole thing with the secret of that place is nobody left that place. Nobody entered, nobody left.
Well, yeah, Wonka killed them all.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe with the butcher guy that was outside.
Back to what's he doing to those Oompa Loompas?
Yeah, the tinker.
Just saying.
The crazy tinker. Yeah, that doesn't have pots. He just has instruments of death on his card.
Your neighborhood meat cleaver salesman.
He's really the guard for Wonka. If one of the Oompa Loompas escapes, he cuts him down.
Oh, maybe.
And then he feeds him to whatever.
Yeah,
such a scary movie.
You think that that bubblegum had a roast beef dinner and who knew? Oompa Loompa flesh tastes just like roast beef.
Or maybe the flesh was the blueberry. It always messes up with the blueberry or the dessert.
So what we're getting at, this is just a documentary about Nestle. That's
pretty close.
Maybe.
I mean, why not? I don't know. I do like the cinematography in this move. In a serious note, I do like the cinematography in this movie. Like it's done in a fairly creative way, even for what was it, 74?
71.
71. Yeah, I mean, it's done in a fairly creative way without being like over the top nuts. And it's one of the few musicals I can stand. I don't like musicals for the most part.
Well, they don't really.
But this is
like
on my short list.
Yeah, they don't really go really deep into like musical, like in a typical musical. They have a lot more.
There's more than one song. It counts for musical for me. I don't deal with shit. When people are like, hold on, let me break conversation and be like, I just have a dream.
Well, yeah,
one day we will be. I'm done. Just delete. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I can't handle that nonsense.
Or if they sing every word, type thing. That's even worse.
Les Mis drove me insane. That's not my thing. I just don't do it well.
As a kid, I never really paid attention to Charlie's Mother song. That was one of those songs that I was like, it's just a mom singing, boring, get to the chocolate.
If you listen to it, you cry.
Dude,
if you have any heart whatsoever.
Yeah, as an adult, I listened to it and I was like, good God, that's deep. Daggum, that's heart-wrenching.
Speaking about the music in here, there's 2 songs before we get to the factory, right? Charlie Mom's song
3.
and Grandpa. The Candyman.
The Candyman.
At least 3, yeah.
Candyman, Charlie's Mom's song,
and
Grandpa Joe's song.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just curious.
No, well, hold on, and then I guess I've got a golden ticket would be Joe, right?
Yeah.
Technical. Okay.
Would you count the
once you get
Oompa Loompa songs as one, since it's just the same song over and over?
Hell no, those are all individuals. Those words aren't the same. Oompa,
that's
loompa, doopity doo.
They're just different.
That bitch was dumb, and so are you. Like, there's no way those songs are the same. Yeah, that doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
Those are all different songs, man.
Tim
the last
Burton
kid was an idiot, and now
Tim
you
Burton
are
should have
too.
just came to us. We would have rewrote the whole songs.
We wouldn't have had squirrels in the remake.
Yes, exactly.
Just saying.
Oh my gosh.
But I do think, since we're talking about the songs, like the Pure Imagination song is probably my favorite by far.
Yeah, that's probably mine.
Oh yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a beautiful song.
Well, and it's
Gene Wilder
simple
does a
too.
great
It's just
job.
that melody, that ding, ding, ding. Over and over.
Well, I've got 2. I love Pure Imagination if I'm looking for a beautiful song. If I'm looking for a fun song, I got a golden ticket, hands down.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I will say this though, I have no idea what the words are to I have a golden ticket other than I have a golden ticket. Because after he says I have a golden ticket, it's like blah blah blah. He starts mumbling some shit. I have no.
I've got a golden twinkle in my eye.
Yeah, there you go. Like I said, blah blah blah. No clue what it was.
That's
as well have been Oompa Loompa.
Well, that's another thing about Grandpa Joe being the villain. His whole song is like, I've got a golden ticket, not Charlie has a golden ticket.
I'm a selfish bastard is the song's title. Actually,
Yes.
It's in italics.
Yes.
In italics. Joe's really selfish.
So what I'm hearing is we need to make a sequel to Willy Wonka about Grandpa Joe, the real Grandpa Joe.
We'll call it The Passion of the Joe, and we can crucify him at the end.
Oh my gosh. Well, they're actually making. Yes, very
when Charlie ultimately takes over the chocolate factory, that's when Grandpa Joe goes crazy.
Yes.
That's when he really gets paid. That's when Charlie really sees him for who he is, and then takes out all of his frustration on his family.
Maybe
you guys stole from me my whole life, and then just murders everyone.
Thanks for getting me here. Here's the gate.
Well, not to be a down, not to be a downer, but since we're talking about death,
oh man,
I did read something interesting that I didn't know. Peter Ostrom, the guy who played Charlie,
yes.
He, when Gene Wilder passed away in 2016, Peter Ostrom changed all of his social media, like his biography or whatever. It says like a former child actor, veterinarian, inherited a chocolate factory on the day that Gene Wilder died. I thought that was like, that's cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, they are remaking. Not necessarily remaking, but they are making a prequel, kind of like what Charlie and the Chocolate Factory wanted to be. But this looks less weird. It's just called Wonka.
Yeah, it's starring Timothy Chalamet, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be released in 2023.
I hate that guy.
I like
Do we
him.
really have to have that fucking kid in, in everything now?
He's kind of the new it guy with everything. So
he weighs 86 pounds, and people are like, "Oh, he's a sex symbol." I'm like, "Oh my god, he's more like a sex toy."
But
he's a tiny little kid. What are we doing?
The synopsis is the story will focus specifically on a young Willy Wonka and how he met the Oompa Loompas on one of his earliest adventures. So
See,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm now that's the first I've heard that description for the movie. I think one of the good things about this movie is the mystery that is around everything. We don't know the Oompa Loompas. We don't know how he really got them. We don't know anything about this factory. We don't know why this dude is as nuts cuckoo as he is. He's like the Twix rabbit of chocolate.
He drank the Oompa Loompa juice.
Maybe.
All I'm going to say is everything Timothée Chalamet touches turns to shit. Look at Dune 2021. Okay. Garbage movie remake again. And now we're going to sit here and do a quote unquote prequel to this movie. And he's just going to fuck this franchise too. Like, why? Just leave it alone. Stop.
If you really want to find out what
reanimate his body.
If you really want to find out what Eddie really thought about Dune, go back and watch our Dune episode.
You can watch it right here in the top right hand corner.
Jesus. But I'm just saying, I mean, at this point, I'd rather them dig up Gene Wilder and reanimate his body and just go, you know what? He's going to be in Willy Wonka the prequel. I'd rather that happen than Timothée Chalamet.
Well, I'll say that Willy Wonka, gosh, Gene Wilder, did not like the Johnny Depp remake.
Oh, really?
He's like, well, yeah, he's like, for one, he didn't like any of his movies to be remade.
Tell me something I didn't know.
Well, especially, well, you're an expert on film now.
Yes. Do you want to see it?
I think somebody should remake. I think someone should remake "See No Evil, Hear No Evil," the Richard Pryor movie that Gene Wilder made.
That would be a good remake. Yeah.
Ridiculous. No. Have you ever seen it, John?
I have. Who would you cast that though?
That movie is pure gold as it is. You can't.
I completely agree.
Yeah, who would be the Richard Pryor?
You were going Kevin Hart, so was I.
Yeah, today be Kevin Hart.
So then you have to have The Rock as.
That would actually.
I'm sold. Let's.
That would actually kind of work.
Kevin Hart and Jack Black. That's it right there.
That would actually kind of work. Not bad.
I think that would work.
See. If you're gonna remake movies, then remake, because I mean, See No Evil, Hear No Evil is definitely a good movie the way it stands already, but it's not a classic.
No, sorry.
If somebody redid it, I wouldn't scream into the night. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Yeah.
It can't be Jack Black. It has to be Timothée Chalamet.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that as a joke.
No. Okay.
Never mind. I'm not interested anymore.
So
you've ruined it. You've ruined it for me. I'm done.
So at the end, when
I was ready to sign up as a producer.
The end, when we finally get revealed that this has all been a ploy by Willy Wonka, and he gives the chocolate factory to Charlie, he takes him into that elevator where
the
Wonkavator, yeah, and they shoot through the sky. I assume they're still flying today, because.
No, they just press another button and it goes, "Oh, you want to go here?" and it takes you back down.
Legend has it they're still flying today.
Some say.
You do enough LSD, you stay flying for a while.
Well, with a budget of $3 million, I mean, this movie did a pretty damn good job.
Well, that's all Quaker Oats could afford at the time.
Well, hold on, but $3 million in 71 or $3 million today?
It's probably
71.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
It really is.
I mean, shit. A
bad.
Buick was like $3,000 at the time. We can ask, what was his name, Bob B or whatever the hell his name was.
Sam B.
Sam B. We can ask Sam B in downtown Texas Buick, whatever the fuck he said. He had a whole name for his dealership.
Right.
So $3 million in 1971 is equivalent to $20.8 million today.
Okay, even with $28.8 million, though, that is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm willing to concede that.
That's an inflation rate of 594%.
Whoa.
Well, we're not going to go into why that's happening.
Inflation,
anyway.
crazy.
But going back to the glass elevator, did you guys know that the ending had to be rewritten? Because Mel Stewart realized whenever they were filming that scene that the last line in the movie, Grandpa Joe, was, once he found out that the family could come with Charlie to the chocolate factory, he was gonna say "Yippee!" and that would be the last part of the movie.
Oh, I'm glad.
That's a weird ending.
And the genius piece of this is that David Seltzer, the guy who rewrote the screenplay after Roald Dahl wrote the screenplay. They called. He was in New York, like he left filming because he's like, I'm done. Right, you don't need me anymore. And so the director called him and said, look, we can't have this. Can you give me something? And he came up with the lines that Willy Wonka and Charlie said, right there at the end.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
I came up with that on the spot.
Man,
how crazy is that?
And that's such a great line to end with. I mean, it's just like, oh, okay. And then credits and like, oh yeah, he lived happily ever after. Uh-oh.
He just had Grandpa Joe in his mind, and he was like, what would this douchebag say who's been able to live his life sitting on a couch for the last 20 years while his daughter works her ass off and tries to take care of all 6 people in this family?
Yeah.
What would he say? He'd say, I lived happily ever after, the end. That's what he would say. Yeah.
Hey, well, it sounds like a lot of the lines that Willy Wonka said throughout the film, which were actual like poetic lines that poets have written and authors have written in books. So it kind of sounds like that, which is spot on. That's just pure genius in writing, in the writing world.
Yeah, and surprisingly, this thing actually only made, I don't know if this is right or not, but it says here gross worldwide $567,000.
Yeah, this did not do well when it first started. It became a cult classic and it ramped up speed. I know that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I kind of understand that, but
and it was popular on television, and then when the tape rental started happening, it was one of the most rented films whenever it finally hit the shelves.
Didn't know that.
So Kyle, since this was your movie, why don't you go ahead and score this?
Yeah, so when I was young, obviously my grandma had this VHS and The Sandlot. Obviously, I watched both movies almost on repeat. I think I may have broken the VHS tape of Willy Wonka because I watched it so many times. As a kid, I just loved everything about it. I'm gonna give this thing an 8.5.
Okay, Kyle's giving it an 8.5. John?
Well, as I said, this is one of my favorite films, and we watch it all the time in my house. And what resonates with me is that Charlie is a good kid with a strong work ethic and good morals, and ultimately he wins the day, which is something I always like to see, especially in a what's essentially a kid's film. And from the beginning of the movie, whenever the kids are in the candy shop and he's on his way to work, it's like, okay, I'm going to work, guys. You well-to-do people, you're fine, but he doesn't feel that that he can be a part of that crowd, and he ends up, because of his humility, he ends up doing something that changes his life and his family's life, which is absolutely amazing. I think it's a great besides it being Willy Wonka's Death Factory. I think it's a great movie for kids to watch and to emulate. Charlie.
Help. Police. Murder.
I am going to give this film, I'm going to give it a 9.
Wow. Nice.
Okay, a 9 for John. So like I said, it's been a while since I've seen this. I was kind of dreading the first half. I remember as a kid, the first half before the factory being really slow. I enjoyed it this time around as an adult. I laughed a lot. Had fun watching it, to be honest. The Charlie's Mom song wasn't as bad as I remember it being. Still not my favorite. But just it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. So this is a movie I could watch every couple years. I don't think I could watch it as much as John does, like 8 times a year or something. Is that what he said? But it is a good movie. It's fun. I enjoy it. I think it's great for kids and adults. There's a lot of the movies that we review on here aren't like that. So I think that's kind of cool. So actually, I'm gonna go 9 as well with John. So Eddie's gonna have to really bring this home if he wants to drag the score down to his level.
Challenge accepted. So here we go. Overall, I do like this movie, which is always my that's a line I love to deliver, and then the death blow. Anyway, I do like this movie a lot. I've watched it a ton since I was a kid. In critiquing it, it does have flaws. Obviously, the first act just does drag ass. I mean, it doesn't matter how you try and dice it up because I think it's because of anticipation. Like I think you're waiting to get to the chocolate factory. So the fact that you're not at the chocolate factory, it seems to take for fucking ever. Which is why I thought the movie was like 2.5 hours long when it's really an hour and 40 minutes. Once the tickets start getting dished out and everything starts to roll, it just picks up speed and obviously powers through to the end. Beyond the first act being slow, I do kind of wish, and this is a very small complaint, but I do kind of wish they spent more time in the chocolate factory. Like I wish they had spent more time in the movie, like kind of exploring that world. I mean, we really only get to see like 6 rooms in it. Yeah. And it kind of feels a little lackluster in that way. The new ones, I mean, obviously CGI goes a long way, but the new ones give you more of the world. Not that I like the new ones more, but they do give you more of the world. Music is cool. The cinematography is great. And the characters are believable, for what they are. They're believable little characters. So I am going to give this movie, I'm going to give it a nice round 7.
Nice.
Okay, so a 7 for Eddie. So then that means that Willy Wonka gets an 8.4.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a well-deserved score, I think.
That is higher than I thought Eddie was going to go.
Me too.
Awesome.
Honestly,
that was about 6 higher than I thought Eddie was going to
go. I've got a tear in my eye.
I know.
Listen,
thank you, Eddie.
You're lucky because for a musical especially, I told you, this is one of the few musicals that I can stand. This is like on my short list of like 10 musicals that I can deal with. Beyond that, like Sound of Music, you say, hey, let's watch the Sound of Music. I might murder you. Yeah. Like I'm not a Sound of Music. Hear the tales of the sound. No, the fucking mountains aren't singing. Shut up. Get off the mountain.
I have to add one more thought.
Jesus.
I think I laughed the most on this rewatch when they were going through like everybody's scenes of how important the golden tickets are. And then they came up to I think it was like a hostage or like a kidnapping.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Like it was a completely different movie.
What did they ask for? Whatever it is, they can have it.
They want your case of Wonka bars. Miss Curtis, did you hear me? It's your husband's life or your case of Wonka bars.
How long will they give me to think it over?
But I never really understood why she was hoarding a box of Willy Wonka chocolate bars. Just open them up, see if you got the ticket.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, she hasn't had a chance. She's been busy because her husband got kidnapped.
I guess.
You got things to do, man. You got to get the groceries. You got to deal with the kidnapped husband.
I thought that was pretty
Get a box of Wonka bars.
Right?
Get a box of Wonka bars in the process.
Your
get in the
Majesty.
So the next thing that's pretty fun. I forgot about that. Your Majesty. She buys the box of
the last box or something. Yeah.
So we need to spin to see what genre we are picking for next week. So
come on, Western.
Here we go.
Oh man.
Nope.
So action and adventure. We've had some interesting movies in the past seasons with action and adventure. So, this is going to be between John and I, right?
Yes.
Just me and you.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Heaven help me. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
It's a coin toss. Who's it going to be?
Come on.
And it's going to be Justin.
Ooh, pick a superhero movie, Justin.
Okay, so after much deliberation, I'm going to do the 2002 movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise. It's about in a future where a special police unit is able to arrest murderers before they commit their crimes. An officer from that unit is himself accused of a future murder. So it's directed by Steven Spielberg, stars Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, and Samantha Morton. I'm pretty sure all of us have seen it.
Wait a minute, have we done a Tom Cruise movie yet?
No, this will be our first Tom Cruise movie. That's kind of why I
Ooh.
want to get it in there and see how it does.
Interesting. First one out of the gates, not Top Gun. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we did not feel the need for speed.
No. Okay.
If you want to follow along at home, just go to justwatch.com, look up Minority Report. You can see all the places that it's streaming or where it's available to rent. And then we will see you guys next Saturday where we review Minority Report.
All right. See you.
See you.
Later.